This is Jimmy Licauco, broadcasting live from Makati. We missed the last week. How many weeks? 2 weeks na yata, no? We missed the Monday broadcast. And here we are again. And our topic this afternoon is ghosts in photos. Those pictures that have something else aside from those that are being pictured. And why do they appear? What do they want? And how do they appear? What's the mechanics, the mechanism by which they appear in pictures? How can they do that? So we'll discuss this very informally. I have a collection of about a dozen pictures or photos of ghosts, no? And give it to my friends or some from sources that at least I know the source, and therefore I know that they are genuine or authentic and not fake, not edited. So that's the problem with this type of pictures, because with the technology, it's easy to fake, to edit, and have special effects on pictures. I wrote a book in 2005. It's called Ghost in Photos, but this is no longer available, and my publisher, Anvil, no longer is interested in reprinting it. And the reason they told me is that because it's not credible, because it can be fake. Of course, they didn't think it was fake, but that people will always think that this has been edited. So they did not want to publish or reprint the book. But some people are still looking for it. You cannot find it anymore. Then I will discuss about these topics here. The first picture of a ghost is this. It was taken in 1978 in Carson City in the United States. A couple bought an old house, and they fell in love with the house, and until they found out that it's haunted. And the picture was taken, and this is supposed to be the picture of a ghost. Okay, this episode is not supposed to scare you. Not interested. It's not. It's objective natin dito is to explain that these things appear and why. I will show you some of these things that I have gathered that are very interesting. Here is a picture. This was taken, you know where I got it from? I got this from the, was it Kodak Museum in, that is in upper state in New York. You will notice that this has faces of ghosts surrounding this man. This is an old picture. It was taken from maybe 19th century. And then nobody knows the history of that. But here, it's an interesting picture of a woman. This was given to me by Sylvia Amansek. What is interesting here, you will notice there's a hand protruding here on this portion. And that cannot be because she is on the water. And you'll notice the height of this hand. It could not have been done by anybody there. Okay. So these are some interesting pictures. And I like this one. This is a picture of a high school graduate. During his graduation, pictures were taken, and what happened was something appeared behind him. It turned out to be the grandfather who's dead. And that's one. If you will notice this here, this picture, this of a man walking behind this young boy who was the grandson who graduated. So here, the grandfather appeared probably to greet the son, the grandson. One of the most famous, oh, not my most famous, one of the most interesting pictures I have here is this. I don't know whether I can show you what's the name, original. Anyway, if I can't find the original. Here is a picture of Ruth Galliamet. Ruth Galliamet is this woman and her friend beside her. This was taken on her 30th birthday. And when the picture was developed, something else appeared in the picture. There is a man here in Barong Tagalog in front of a tomb. She did not recognize this man at first, but later she discovered that it was the picture of her brother who died 4 years before in Zamboanga. She did not recognize him because they have never, they seldom see each other. 4 years ago he died, and so she did not recognize her. It's very interesting. What is interesting about this, that how this picture came to be, to me, it's a series of coincidences. Ruth Galliamet was the cosmetician of Vicky Bello, the famous dermatologist. And this was taken during her birthday, 30th birthday. After this was taken, a day or two before after that, she died in a very tragic vehicular accident. She was run over after the EDSA Revolution Festival in EDSA. She was walking together with two people on the highway on EDSA at 1 o'clock in the morning. A speeding car hit her. Of the three, she was the only one who was killed. So this was taken as a sign that the brother was already fetching her. He knew that she would be next. So this was interesting. Mahaba yung story ko nito eh. But this is a story that I wrote about how this picture came to me. Many of these pictures are just accidentally given to me. Here is another one. Interesting thing happened here. If you will notice, I don't know whether you see, sometimes it's difficult, no, because mayroong reflection eh. Pasan ko ba na yan? How can I? May reflection pa rin, no? There is, can you hold this? Yeah, okay. Yeah. You see there, when this picture was taken, this was not there. These two persons, a man and a woman there. The ones who gave me this, one of the girls here, Filipinos who are in Bouchard Garden. Bouchard Garden is a very beautiful place. It's a tourist attraction in Victoria, I think. I don't know. I can't remember anymore. It was not in Vancouver. And I think it's in British Columbia. I'm not sure anymore, but the Bouchard Garden is very famous. And this was taken by this Filipina. And these two beings appeared there, which wasn't there before. When I showed this to the administration or administrator of the place, and I said, can I see the pictures of the owner of this, or the one who began this? And I said, it looks like them. And I said, no, it could not be them. And he was denying it. So that was, I did not argue anymore. But when I saw the picture of the owner, he really looks like this one, showing himself there. What else? Oh, there are other pictures, but the point here is sometimes picture appears only, the spirit appears only as a dash of this thing, like a flash of light. Here's another one. I am with Dina Vonavi, you know, the movie actress. I was talking to her, and when the picture was taken and developed, this light or energy appeared. Sometimes they appear like that. No? not as the identifiable figures, but as a stream of light or sometimes smoke. Why do they appear? There are many reasons why ghosts appear in pictures. One is probably to greet the person, like the grandfather who greeted the grandson during his graduation. He showed himself in the picture to greet, or somebody who just died may show himself in pictures just to reassure the living relatives that they're all right. Sometimes because they want to convey a message that is very important to them. And so they look for a channel that can convey this message. The history of ghosts appearing in pictures has been there for a long time. And because they couldn't explain this, it's just ignored. And you don't hear much of this. But I find it interesting that I collected this because this was a time when there was no, how do you call, digital photos were not yet invented at that time. This is what they call the analog type of pictures. And I have not seen a photo of ghosts in digital the cameras. No? And I don't know why, but we ask a spirit entity from the upper fifth dimension, or why, or what is the mechanism. I hope I can find it easy here. What is the mechanism? How they appear in pictures? Is there a way? But how can a spirit appear in a photograph? Wait a minute. Let me try to look for that. Nasaan na yun? But essentially, what the spirit is Angsu. In 1984, there was this entity from the upper fifth dimension called Angsu, who was communicating to us and other people and explaining things about the other dimension. He was being channeled by a man called Slugo Rigor, who migrated to the US. And he explained to us many things about the spirit world. I already separated that earlier, but now I couldn't find it. I don't know, maybe a ghost took it because I couldn't find it here now. This why ghosts or how ghosts appear in pictures. Well, what Angso was saying, if I remember it right, but I wanted to quote him correctly, was that they are able to merge themselves into the electrical mechanism of the picture. They change their molecular structure to be able to appear in the picture. So that's how they do it. But I want really to read exactly how or why, how they do this. Let me see. If you give me a few seconds. No, it's funny. It disappeared here. That's one of the things that happen when you're a ghost. There are things that happen here that it's difficult to explain. Why they appear are plenty. Sometimes to warn the living about things that may happen. There was a time when even 3 ghosts accompanied me in an elevator in Makati, and I didn't know they were ghosts. They look like actually living beings. Now here is the explanation of this entity, highly evolved entity from the upper fifth dimension. How do they do this? He says spirits appear in photos for different reasons. One, to manifest their presence due to attachment to a person having his or her pictures taken, to give a message. Whatever the reason, it has something to do with the person having his picture taken. So there's a connection between him and the person whose picture is being taken. How do the spirits appear in pictures or film? And this is how this entity explained it to us. The mechanism by which this occurs is that spirits, without being human again or without adapting to the vibratory makeup of humans, can make themselves appear in photos by passing through electrical currents and changing their atomic molecular makeup in a quantum sense, so that they are captured on film as well. Although not in the same vibrations as humans, they can appear as real as humans, much like appearing in reality as seen by the naked eye. Spirits know that they will be appearing in photos, not like my photo shoot para sila. In another session we had with this entity, Angsu elaborated on the specific process of how the phenomenon of spirit photography takes place. He says photos are one medium through which spirits manifest themselves in your world. It is a way by which they cross the dividing line between their world and yours. They have to have an avenue through which they can make their molecular makeup vary according to Earthlings or the Earth's electrical and molecular level. A camera is a tool whereby electronics is used to capture images or imprints of physicality. Spirits make use of this process, passing through electrical currents or energy through which they can enter another world or dimension apart from their own dimension. Electric currents serve as pathways to different dimensions, and a camera is such a tool. Oh, I see. So it's interesting. We don't see this much anymore when the digital cameras were invented. Maybe because it doesn't translate into paper anymore. No, you have to have a special process to translate this into photographic cameras or photographic films or photographic paper like before. So maybe later on there will be pictures that will show even on digital. Okay, there are questions coming in from Emmanuel Salvador. Sabi noon, ang mundo ng pagmulto natin ay halos pareho sa mundo ng mga buhay. Yes. Merong kingdoms, country, different levels of place. Maganda pong pag-aralan ang mga bagay, ang mga buhay. No? Buhay natin kapag ayon, pagpatay na. Yes, it's one of the biggest questions of humanity. What happens after death? And of course, that's controversial. It's very controversial because nobody really knows. We have different theories. I myself have several books on what happens after death. And we're now getting a better picture of this than before. Monique Delara, why they come and visit? Well, we answer this, Monique, because they want to convey a message. Or sometimes I just want to greet a person, like that grandfather who appeared on the graduation of his grandson. They want to show that they're alive. Sometimes they do not know they are dead, and therefore they're doing the things that they were doing when they were alive. There was a case of a doctor of mine, an audiologist, who told me that he was visited by his patients who he has not seen for a long time, and they even talked, only to find out later that this patient already died. No, and another doctor told me uh, there was a patient, an old patient, that now is my caregiver siya, and he is on a wheelchair, and he comes to the clinic in a wheelchair that is pushed by the caregiver. Then he has not seen this patient for a long time. Then one time he appeared together with the caregiver, and he found out later on that this person already died. But who was the one who's pushing the the, the wheelchair? I was asking that question. Perhaps it's also a ghost. You see. All right, Mark. Is this Mark Glomer Chua Gandol? The clairvoyance of Dina Bonaby was very interesting. You know, Dina is one of the most psychically developed persons I have ever met. We met in Mount Banahaw, and she was amazing. She was able to detect the flow of a body of water underneath the house we were staying in at the time. There was a boy Montalibano and Maria Montalibano. There was no body of water there, but he said there is. And at that time, there was no water anymore. But before that, which nobody knew, there used to be a body of water. So she detected that. She also had many interesting psychic experiences that she told me before, and I've written about it in one of my books. Si Alice Olarte, hello po. Hala, di ko po naisip kung ano connection sa amin nung ghost na sumama sa picture namin ng friends ko. I thought they were connected to the place where we were. We were in the USD area. It was a digital photo. Oh, well, yes. As the entity said, there's always a connection with the person whose pictures being taken. So do you have a connection with that? But of course, I think there are also sometimes they may not really be a connection with you. It could be just a spirit that is in that house and happens to appear when you were taking a picture. So that's also possible. Question from Ruel Ramos. If reincarnation is true, then why do ghosts exist? Well, because they have not incarnated. You see, when we go to the other side, the afterlife, we don't reincarnate right away. Sometimes it will take centuries before we reincarnate when the conditions are right for us to be able to work out our karma with other people. Then we reincarnate with them. So ghosts exist because they are not yet here. They are not incarnated. That's the explanation for that. Okay. Si Christine Joy G. Beroy. What if nanaginip ka po ng taong patay na and that person is asking you to come with them? This has been very common, no? Very common experience of people. Don't go with them in the dream. They always no misery loves company, and some were unhappy in their state in the afterlife. Would like to mess around with some people who are still alive. Okay. Cinderella, Samantha Cindy. Wow, you're listening. Thank you. How come other people see ghosts with blood and wounds? I have seen ghosts, but I've never seen ghosts with blood. This happens to people who say died a violent death and they have blood. When they die in a shock, they do not know that they are dead, and therefore they show themselves as they died. No, they sometimes with burns, or sometimes with wounds, or sometimes with blood. However, as they become accustomed to their life in the spirit world, they will show themselves without blood and without horrifying features. It is those people or ghosts, spirits, well, who have experienced something traumatic in this life, accidents, murder, violence, and they are not aware that they're dead, so they show themselves the way they are with blood. Later on, there will be no blood. They will appear in their prime of their life. That's when they're already used to the spirit world. Walt de Guzman Flores, I have pictures showing clear image of my daughter who passed away 5 years ago. The selfie picture was taken 3 months after she died. Oh, that means she was really greeting you, and you should be happy about it. You should not worry about her. She just Jasmine or Jasmine. Ganda na kanang pangalan. I was able to see my uncle sleeping beside me in the room while his wake was in the living room. Yeah, this happens. Creepy, but that made me understand there's real life after that. Oh, yes, there is life after that. You can be sure of that. They were just probably somewhere hanging around. I had experience as well taking a picture of a white woman in my house. Sabi niya, creepy, creepy, creepy. Well, we have to understand that ghosts are all around us. And they're not always bad. They're not always creepy. They're not always monstrous looking. And that's why I hate these horror pictures, but ghost stories. They always picture ghosts as bad, picture ghosts as scary. Most ghosts are not scary. Most ghosts are nice. Most ghosts are just relatives of ours who want to greet us. There are very few ghosts that are harmful or that are really menacing. And that's why I don't like these horror films. They're just the imagination of people. And the truth is much, much better than the fiction. So BP Hoxon is asking, Sir Jimmy, please enlighten me. My friend Iglesia Ni Cristo believes that the spirit of a dead person stays where his body is, kung saan siya linibing, and stays there until God calls them up. But we as Catholics believe the other way around. The spirits come from anywhere. You know, each person has his own beliefs. The Buddhists believe that we can become animals in our next life if we are bad. You see, we can become cows or pigs or what else. Maybe politicians will be crocodiles in another life. But we don't believe that. It's possible we were not human before, and when we became human through evolution, if we believe in evolution, then we will stay human until we reach godhood through a series of incarnation. So each religion has its own beliefs, and you cannot say they're wrong, you cannot say they're right, neither can we impose our beliefs on them. So you just respect their beliefs because they have a reason for that, and they should also respect our beliefs. There is no conflict as far as I'm concerned with these things. You don't try to convert people to their own way of thinking, and they should not try to convert us to their way of thinking. So there will be no. Well, I don't have any problem with that. People don't believe that. No, many people don't believe in what I'm saying. Many people do, and I have no problem with that because I'm not converting them. I'm not interested in converting them to my own belief system. They are free to accept or reject whatever I say. Okay. Yami Kalibho. Who is the best clairvoyant now in the Philippines? I don't know. I have met some of the most brilliant, the most amazing psychics, clairvoyant in the Philippines. Many of them are dead. Sayang talaga, no? This is outstanding psychics I have met. But I'm lucky I met them. But most of them are women. So I don't know anymore now. Maybe they exist somewhere in the barrios, maybe in remote places, not in the cities, because they will be found out if they're in the cities. But I don't know. That's the Guban says, looking great, Jimmy. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And there is, who's this? Therese Sajem. Remember watching the Netflix Surviving? Yes, Surviving Death. It's a very good documentary film. I highly recommend this documentary of Netflix, Surviving Death, based on what you mentioned before, Sir Jimmy, on the ghost who was able to communicate via Polaroid. Are there other instances where spirits able to communicate? Oh yes, there are so many communications from the spirit world. I have several books of spirit communication. They use every means. Sometimes they use what they call electronic voice phenomena. So radio, through before yung tape, ngayon wala ng tape. But before they also use what they call this fax machine. but there's no more facts. They sometimes write on walls, no? So there are many means by which spirits communicate to the living, sometimes through mediums who are able to see them or to be able to hear their voice. Mervyn Gubatan says, I know I have psychic powers. I can sense different emotions when I was a kid. I can easily sense negative and positive vibes in people or even places. I can see ghosts too sometimes. They look like blurred shadows. The first experience of a ghost just tapped me on my shoulder in the USD hospital. I want to open my third eye, but I know how. Maybe you don't know how. You already have an open third eye, just you can see ghosts. You don't have to be able to see it every day, every time. But as long as you're able to see once in a while things that cannot be seen, your third eye is open. All you have to do is just practice it. Everybody has this ability. Patrick Goloy, sorry. Hi, Sir Jimmy. We had an old house before with spirits, which I see. Oh, good. It was already demolished recently. I've been dreaming of me in the house again. What does this mean? Well, most of our dreams happen in the place where we grew up in. Even our house in San Juan, old house, has been demolished, but all my dreams still happen there, as if the house still there. And the same as when I was staying, when I was growing up in that place. Most of us go back to the time where we grew up in, even though that place no longer exists. Because in the area of the dream world, they still exist in that dimension. Okay. Sabi ni Yam Ronquillo, in your book, you stated that your karma in this lifetime is to share the hidden ancient knowledge. Do you think you already served your karma? You know, there is so much to share. There's so much more. And I don't think it will take only this lifetime for me to share it. It will take many lifetimes. We are evolving in our knowledge, but physically, mentally, spiritually, there is no end to learning. Tess de Guzman asked, do ghosts, spirits have feelings? Yes and no. Ghosts have feelings, they're earthbound. When they're already a long time in the spirit world, they lose their emotions for the living. They become non-involved about it. But at the beginning, when they're still earthbound and they're still new in the spirit world, yes, they can feel, they have emotions, and they have, just like us. There was this case of a woman who was always jealous of her husband. Then she died. And then one time the husband was driving, there is a woman beside him, and the dead wife appeared on the windshield and pointing her finger at him, and who is this woman with you? So she was still jealous even in the afterlife. That means she was newly dead. Later on, she will forget that. Okay, well, what time do we have now? We have only what? Let's extend. Well, okay. Let's have this question. When Mangkal Basco. Most of my close friends tell me that I have a third eye. I have a strong vision most of the time about what will happen in the future. Kahit mga manggagamot, pag nakita ako, they always tell me I have a tagos-tagos ang third eye. How will I know if it's true? Most of the time, na paganipan ko, dead relatives giving messages through dreams. Well, it's true. If you experienced all these things, people don't have to confirm it to you. You have a third eye. And we all have. Some have more developed third eye than others. I don't have a well-developed one. I know it's open. Sometimes I can see ghosts, I can see, but not all the time. Now, seeing the future is not clairvoyance. Seeing the future is recognition. It's another power of the mind. There are so many different psychic powers, and clairvoyance or third eye is only one of them. If you can see things that cannot be seen by others, you're clairvoyant. You can feel things that others cannot feel. You're clairsentient. If you can hear things that others cannot hear, you're clairaudience. If you can smell things that others cannot smell, you're clairolfaction. No? And so these are different terms for these different extra senses. Okay, Ruel Ramos, maybe this should be the last question, follow-up question. In order for a ghost to get reincarnated, what conditions need to be met? When the karma is to be met in that particular lifetime, then you will reincarnate if you will be able to work out your karma. For example, if you kill somebody in this lifetime, you cannot ask forgiveness to him anymore because it's the other side. So you have to wait for another lifetime for you to meet again and work out your karma together, you see. But you must remember that in the spirit world, there is no time. Time exists only on the physical plane. So that, 1 year to us, or could be several thousand years for us, could be 1 second in the spirit world. So there's a time difference, no, between the spirit world and the physical world. Okay. Eric Francis, dumarating pa. Hi, Sir Jimmy. I miss seeing you around DCMM like before. Well, that's it. Wala on DCMM. I retired in 2013. Okay, well, it has also been a year since I last set foot at the office. I wonder if the entities inside our comfort room in the office still exist. It's no longer there. It's very nice to see you again. I'll make sure to watch out for your next live stream. Stay safe. The spirit, her name is Eve, in the comfort room or restroom of room 308. And we miss her, She's a nice ghost. She does not harm people. She does not scare people. We knew she's there. And there was an incident. There's something I want to relate. There was a delivery of something from abroad, crystals that I ordered. And my secretary counted them and inspected whether they're in the right quantity and the right item that I ordered. And then the delivery man was about to leave and says, Ma'am, you have to sign the delivery receipt because, to prove that I have delivered your goods. And said, okay, give it to me, yung voucher ba, whatever you call it, delivery receipt. And then nakita nung delivery, oh, sorry, napirmahan niyo pala. And it says there, Eve. That's the name of the ghost. The ghost of the one who signed the delivery receipt, not my secretary. Eve was no longer around. I don't know where she is. Okay, Kevin, Patrick, Salem, do animals turn into ghosts when they die? Some. I have heard stories, some very close friend of mine, whose dogs, whom they love very much, appear either in the dream or actually there is one particular person I know very well. When the dog died, and she always make poo-poo in the backyard, in the back door, yung sa likod ng bahay. And the dog died. Then one morning, she saw poo-poo of the dog in that place where he used to. So, what do you say to that? Okay, we have no more time. We will think of a topic that you would like us to discuss next time, and you can call up telephone numbers 8810-7245. That's 8810-7245, or ano pa yung 0998-988-6292. Let me repeat that. 0998-988-6292. We have online seminars coming up this March. Don't forget. Soulmates, Karma, and Reincarnation on March 20, 2021 from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And this on March 20. And the fee is only 3,000. You still have time to enroll. And then on 27th of March, we have the self-healing through visualization from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. So we have quite a number of people who have enrolled already. We need some more. And the more, the merrier. To be on Zoom and online, anybody in the world can enroll. In fact, right now, we are several from other parts of the world who have enrolled in the seminar. And I hope that you will, as long as I'm here, will do this thing. Thank you so much. It's Jimmy Licauco signing off. Jimmy Licauco Live. Thank you.